So there's always been options. We, realtors, professional realtors with the big companies, have been the best option that the market has chosen. And then we decide what we're worth. And I know for me personally, there's a number I don't go below because I'd rather not work if I'm going to work for that little money. Holy shit, Sitzer Burnett. If you guys don't know, now you know. So here's the long and short of it. There's 500,000 plaintiffs in Missouri said that they were damaged because National Association of Realtors, RE/MAX, Keller Williams, and a couple other brokerages conspired. This was a conspiracy to stabilize or keep commissions high or do something that damaged these people. And here's the biggest problem is now someone else is telling our story. We know that we don't ever say we have to charge a certain percentage. When I was at Keller Williams, they never once said you need to charge 6 or you need to charge 5 or you need to charge 4. The market's always dictated that because when we offered a lower commission, we would get lower activity. And so we knew like most people aren't going to get out of bed for less than X percentage. I'm not even going to say it because it's so touchy right now. And so we've all kind of landed independently on where we think it should be. Now the problem is if it's on a dot chart, it's all pretty damn close together. So they're saying that we colluded. But RE/MAX doesn't talk to Keller Williams. They hate each other. National Association of Realtors, all they do is they're a membership organization. They don't talk to us about commissions. They don't even make money off of our commissions. They make money off of the fees that we pay them every year and every month. So this is what they're saying happened is collusion with 500,000 plaintiffs. Now, I believe it's $1.78 billion was awarded in damages yesterday. That's significant. It may never get paid. They're going to appeal and appeal and appeal. This could be 10 years, but it took that jury 2 hours and 28 minutes to decide that we had a collusion, antitrust, something going on, which then could bring in the Department of Justice to further look into this. And the second that the Sitzer Burnett trial stopped and the plaintiffs won, another suit was filed against EXP, United Home Sellers, and a bunch of other real estate corporations. So this is going to continue, and it's going to continue. So what we're going to see is a change, like an industry change. But here's the funny part. So the attorneys are saying that real estate agents are evil and these big national real estate corporations are ripping off buyers and sellers, right? And so they're suing so they can protect future buyers and sellers and the current ones. So what do you think the attorneys make? How much do you think an attorney makes? This is called a contingent fee. Okay, just like real estate agents. If these attorneys didn't win, they get a goose egg. They get nothing. And they only get paid if they win. Does it sound like a real estate deal? I only get paid when it closes. The average is 30 to 40%.
Of a winning case?
Yes. So these MFs that are attacking us, saying that we charge too much, will make somewhere between $535 million and $800 million. So these guys are saying that real estate agents charge too much at 6%. They take between 30 and 40, sometimes 50. It's whatever they negotiate.
Weird.
Just like us, whatever we negotiate, right? And then you know what each one of the plaintiffs gets on average? $2,100.
I was going to say it was like $1,700 something.
$2,100 to like $2,600.
Wow, hypocrisy at its
So they get $1.78 billion. The attorney, who's on a contingent fee agreement, just like we're on contingent fee agreements, brings home $750 million. And each one of the people that were actually damaged gets $2,000. So I just want to point out how ridiculous this is at the outset. What I need to do is I need to become an attorney, take these guys and go after this money, and then I'll take half of it. Be like, hey, he sued realtors for ripping off you guys, and then he turned around and ripped you off. Right? What's happening here? What does this mean for us, right? That's really what matters. We have been doing half of our jobs for the last 30 years. It's been about 30 years since buyer agency was created. So rewind back to the mid-90s, I suppose. And we have two sides of every transaction. Now, they're saying that unfairly, can't put a number down because that would be collusion. The seller pays a percentage that's negotiated by the listing agent. The listing agent then discusses with the seller what is going to get offered to who represents the buyer. So hypothetically, they're saying the average commission is 6%. I'm not saying that, they are. So you take all 6 and then realistically 2 to 4% to the buyer side, right? What they're saying now is there is no buyer agency. So we find someone that wants to sell a house, okay? Let's say we figure out our fees. I say, I'm gonna charge you, I'll just say, I'm a flat rate guy. I charge 10 grand to list and sell your house. When we get a buyer, the buyer's agent may negotiate a commission within the offer. I'm going to offer this with 0 commission offered, and then we can negotiate it. Or I say, hey, I'll charge you $10,000. I need to, and I will find the buyer, right? Because what are the 3 P's of what most people do? They get the paperwork signed, they put a sign in the yard, and they pray someone else sells it. I'm on point, right? So P. Well, now we actually have to do the rest of our job, which is the 4th P, prospecting to find a buyer. Basically, what the pressure that's getting put on us now is to push us back 30 years. The system we have right now is very, very efficient. We have people that concentrate on getting listings. We have people that concentrate on getting buyers. We have people that do half and half. But now what's going to happen is, potentially, remember, like we're talking, the industry is going to start changing probably in 6 months. This stuff doesn't happen overnight, right? We're not going to wake up today and see that every single listing in our multiple listing service has a buyer agency commission of 0. There's tons of data that show the lower buyer agency commission you offer, the less the house sells for, and the longer it takes to sell the house. The market has dictated where we are today. But I was talking to a friend last night, and he's like, come on, you know that we've never wanted to pay buyer's agents. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Every time I've listed any of your houses, we say, hey, man, what are we going to do here? This is what I'm going to charge, and this is what I recommend you offer. We can do less, but, right, beware of the true cost of the lowest price. So the general public does not see it the way we see it. They never will, and that's the problem. That's why it only took the jury 2 hours and 28 minutes to come to this verdict. So there's always been options. We, realtors, professional realtors with the big companies, have been the best option that the market has chosen. And then we decide what we're worth. And I know for me personally, there's a number I don't go below because I'd rather not work if I'm going to work for that little of money. So then I set my pricing. And then based on what the market has to say about what I'm offering is how I set that. And every single market is different. Like I've heard in Portland that already they're offering $1 or $0 to buyer agents. Portland's different from Medford, different from Eugene, Salem, California, Texas. It's different everywhere. But what we need to understand is when there's a massive difference between what we think and understand about our industry and what the general public does is where the problem lies. We know that we're not colluding and that we never have colluded, but the general public thinks that we have. And that is what's pushing this. We haven't done anything wrong. If you've noticed, they're not going after real estate agents because the real estate agents don't have billions, millions of dollars. Real estate agents, for the most part, have nothing, right? They work and they pay their bills and they work and they pay their bills. They're not getting rich in this business, right? You never get rich on the commissions you make. You get rich on the real estate you buy with your commissions. Once we understand that, now we know what we need to do. It's going to be a grind. If you are not a grinder, if you're not into working hard and working long hours and hitting the phones and doing marketing, real estate was never for you. And it's not for you now, and you might as well quit because it's going to be a grind. We're going to work less efficiently. We're going to sell less houses. I'm not going to be able to hold 50 listings at a time if this whole thing changes. I'm going to have 5 listings at a time that I'm holding open houses on, that I'm door knocking on, that I'm circle dialing for, and that I'm advertising through the internet and every other means possible to find the buyers, right? Because like I said, for the last 30 years, real estate agents have been doing 1/2 of their job. They either have found the seller and hope someone else finds the buyer, or they found a buyer and they hope someone else finds the seller, okay? But why aren't we finding the buyer and then going and finding the seller? Right? Why don't we find a buyer and the buyer says, I want to live in this neighborhood. And then with our technology, we call, we text, we email, we mail out to everybody in that neighborhood, hey, I have a buyer, and then you do your full job, right? Or you find a seller and then especially through the Place platform, we know who's looking at these things, and then call all the people interested in that and find the buyer for it. It's what we should have been doing the whole time. If there's 4 or 5 or 6% commission total in a deal, why are we not going for both sides of it? Why are not we going for all of it? I did that on my last deal that closed yesterday. I found the seller, and then I found the buyer, and I got the whole kit and caboodle. And it was fantastic. And it was a lot easier, but we don't do that because we've only done half. So we're used to doing half the work. It's very efficient because I can just find a bunch of sellers, and then all these buyer's agents find a bunch of buyers, and then we find it out and close deals. But now, it very well could be I can only work with 5 people at a time because it's hard work, right? If I'm repping these 5 sellers, I'm showing buyers that don't have agents these houses when they want to see them. And when do buyers typically want to look at stuff, Autumn?
6:30 at night.
6:30 at night. And why is that? Because typically people that can afford to buy a home have a job, and most jobs are call it 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So you're doing your paperwork and you're doing your prospecting and lead generation Monday through Friday, you're 9 to 5. And now you're grinding from 5 to 9 and weekends because you're taking listings and now you're out finding the buyers. You're actually doing all of the work. So each sale you'll net more income from, or you could net more income from, but it will require more work. That means that most of the real estate agents today are going to leave the business because they don't even do their half of the job very well. They don't pick up the phone, they don't prospect, they don't market very well. And the ones that know how to do this are going to do even better. Okay, so for me as a grinder, I'm not afraid of hard work. And I like the idea of having less competition and only the best in the business surviving. That sounds fantastic to me. There's been too many times where either a listing agent or a buyer's agent has been grossly overpaid and they're negligent and they have totally misrepresented the job and they have not done what's right by their clients. And they did it just for the paycheck because it was like easy money. So I'm okay with the easy money going away, right? And the question is, are you? So in South Africa, they have open mandates and sole mandates. An open mandate is where a seller may hire 8 real estate agents to sell their house, and the one that finds the buyer first wins the commission. Or it could be a sole mandate where it's one agent, but that agent has to go find the buyer because there aren't buyer agents in South Africa. We have that here. We have exclusive agency, which is where a seller can hire multiple agents, and we have exclusive right to sell. We already have these different options. There is no longer a requirement to offer any sort of buyer agent commission at all to put a house in the MLS. There's already exclusive agency and exclusive right to sell. So sole mandate is exclusive right to sell, which is what most of us do. And then exclusive agency would be an open mandate where you can hire as many agents as you want and whoever brings the buyer first gets the commission. We've done exclusive agency where the seller's out there cold calling, trying to sell his place. Right? I got the photos, I wrote the remarks, I did the price, and now the seller's trying to beat me out of my own commission. So what does that mean for me? If I take an exclusive agency listing, what do I need to do? I need to be better at my job than the seller is. And guess what? If you're not as good as the seller is, guess what happens? You get no money. I think that's completely fair. I should be able to beat someone that's never sold a house before at marketing and selling their house. But how many times have we seen agents on either side of a transaction be incompetent and get paid when they shouldn't have, when they didn't earn it? So we need to have some excitement and some level of fear. But at the same time, that level of fear is what propels change and what propels us to get better. Right? When you're comfortable and things are easy, all you do is put a sign in the yard, get the paperwork signed, and pray someone else sells the listing. And then they do, and you get paid. And then you had to negotiate a repair addendum that took like an hour. And then you had to go to the closing and give them a closing gift, right? You complain about that when that was the easiest money ever. Now it's like, hey, I got to get the listing, and I got to find the buyer. I got to go. And I can't take too many of you guys because I can't do all of this, right? So now we're going to actually have to work. I think that's what it's going to look like, personally. And remember, it's not going to be anything that's immediate. So now is the time to sharpen your skill set. So let's see. What are going to be our takeaways? Sharpen skills. What are some examples of sharpening skills? Calling people. Just general lead generation. Open houses. marketing. You're gonna have to start thinking now. Who's the buyer for this house? What is the buyer for this house? Who do I market to, right? There's 333 million people in the United States of America. I can't market to all of them. Is the buyer local or is the buyer out of state? How do I attract this buyer to the home? At what price point? What do I need to do to impress this seller to keep them from firing me? Right? You actually are going to have to call around. You're going to have to do your job. If you don't have the skills, you will fail. And I will win. It's plain and simple. I've developed skill set. It's time for you guys to develop the skill set. And you still have time. But another 6 months, 9 months, if you're still doing nothing like you have this past year, it will be too late. So there's a choice to be made here. There's still plenty of money to be made in this industry for those that are willing to work. What else do we need to do? Yeah, so educate. How many agents have any clue what happened yesterday? So we're already ahead, right? And so I will get us further ahead because I was watching this so closely yesterday. When I saw the trial hit, I sold half of my EXP stock and then it dumped 10% the next second. I was like, how is this gonna, oh shit, I know exactly what this is gonna do. All real estate stocks just took a 10% dump. Whenever that verdict came out, I read it and I went and sold stock. And then the stock dropped. Volume went through the roof on trading, right? Because I knew I've been paying attention to this stuff. And so as soon as it hits, the one with superior knowledge is gonna win. And I won yesterday. I saved like a $20,000 loss on that stock that I just bumped off because I was aware of it. And so we can use that analogy here. Let's get ahead of everybody else. Let's get our marketing set up. Let's build value with buyers, right? I can see in the future some very, very sophisticated, very intelligent, knowledgeable, hardworking, exclusive buyer agents killing it, right? But now it's like, hey, yeah, you want to buy a house? Great, let's meet. Here's the deal. You need to write me a check as a retainer, okay? You need to sign this agreement that you're going to pay me X amount of dollars for my work. And boom, 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 boom. If you don't meet these criteria, you need to go find a house on your own because I'm not working with a clown. Okay, I'm a highly skilled individual. I will find you what you want, but you're gonna pay me. And if you're not gonna pay me, I'm not gonna work with you. It'll be plain and simple, not a, oh, I hope you choose me. The seller pays my commission, so I'm free to you. All this BS, right? And they're like, there's no value in that. But if you sit down with someone that's like, you need to write a check to me for $5,000, and this is what it looks like. As soon as you leave the office, I have 1,000 numbers, names and numbers loaded in my phone in the areas that you're looking for, and I'm gonna start digging through those areas. And as soon as I'm done calling those people, they're gonna get a postcard. And then I have a couple houses for sale in there that I'm gonna show to you. And then after I show them, I'm gonna hold them open and I'm gonna door knock that neighborhood and I'm gonna find you a house that you wanna buy. But you better be damn sure what you want because I'll find you one and you're gonna pay me for it, right? That's what the buyer agents are gonna look like. Instead of this willy-nilly, right, getting Zillow screenshots and sending you Realtor.com things and you're confused. They ask, right, hey, how's the well? And then what do? You call the other agent. That agent doesn't know, so they ask the seller. There's been a lot of this happening to where it's like, no, I'm a buyer's agent. I went and connected with the seller, said, hey, Mr. Seller, you're gonna pay me X amount of dollars to rep you, and this buyer's gonna pay me X amount to rep them, and I'll get a deal. I'll make a deal, right? And his listing agents, hey, here's what I charge. If you want to offer something to attract a buyer's agent, let's go for it. If you don't, I'll get it. As soon as we get this thing signed, get the photos taken, I got 1,000 numbers dialed up in my system. I'm going to call all the neighbors. I'm going to do this open house. I'm going to postcard. I'm going to Facebook, Instagram, paid ads. People Googling this street are going to find us. I'm going to find a buyer, right? I'm going to actually work. Instead of put a sign in the yard and then pray another agent brings a buyer to it. Does that make sense? So think of skill levels increasing drastically, and that's a good thing for the industry, right? Because if it's harder to sell homes, then we'll have less competition. It will be able to actually charge more. When it's too easy, there's called low barriers to entry, then anyone can get into it. That turns into lower quality and lower pay for everybody. So be excited about these changes, because they're actually going to be pretty awesome. For those that work, and you know what's gonna happen, right? Is the tide goes out, you find out who's not wearing pants. So as this market has already gotten difficult and will continue to get more difficult, we'll know exactly who's been doing the daily activities that for years I've been asking you guys to do, and we're gonna know who hasn't been. And we kinda already do, right? If we introspect, we all go, okay, Most of us haven't been doing it. And if you continue on that path, you will cease to exist in the real estate world, plain and simple. So what are the takeaways? Sharpen your skills. Educate yourself. We're ahead of the curve. No one knows about this stuff yet. And the crap that NAR and the Oregon Association of Realtors put out is BS. It's not over. We're going to fight it. Nothing's changing. Yes, it is. Okay, because they don't understand, because they're stuck in their little mindset of, no, we never colluded. We didn't do any of this stuff. And the entire general public is going, realtors suck. You guys have way overcharged us. My agent was an idiot, and I had to pay them whatever tens of thousands of dollars for me to do all the work, and I'm pissed. So things are going to change. So don't listen to those dingbats. Like, listen to the market. Listen to the people. Talk to your clients about this, right? And then when we go on listing appointments, we don't charge X% anymore. Okay, here's what I charge. What would you like to offer to a buyer's agent, if anything? And then here's what it looks like. I'm going to find the buyer. If you offer nothing, I'm going to find the buyer. I'm going to market your house. I'm going to do my job. And the Place platform is going to be a great place to do that, because we have the tech that enables us to do this, that will make it even easier for us to succeed in this market, as opposed to people that don't have what we have. We have access to some of those powerful stuff in the industry that's going to propel us into success. But it's going to be different, and it's not going to be easy. And if you're not willing to actually sell, right, to sit down and sell your skills to a seller, sell your skills to a buyer, and then go find a buyer for your listing, and then go find a listing for your buyer, you're going to be hurting, right? So like I said before, if you're not a grinder, if you're not willing to grind, this industry is not for you. It never has been for you, and it will not be for you in the future. Like, it's going to be a lot harder. So don't be scared, but be ready. Be ready to up your skills.